everybody, welcome back to Baseline Farms. My name is Jade. Hope everyone's doing well. So it's been a while since I've done a video, and I just wanted to pop in here just to say, oh my god, there's a beautiful hummingbird. Yeah, there's so many hummingbirds around here. There must be a nest around here somewhere. I don't know if it's the same hummingbird or just very random different hummingbirds, but there's a hummingbird that always flies in here, and it's just, I don't know, I love hummingbirds. I get so mesmerized by them. But today is not about hummingbirds. Today is about planting seeds. So you guys, we have been so busy after Berry Fest because, you know, we do have a regular job. We own a commercial landscaping business. And so we went straight back to work. I went back to work to take care of some containers at a shopping center that needed a good facelift. So I tore out a bunch of containers, redid a bunch of them. And because it's starting to get warmer, I'm not acclimated to the heat. I hate sweating outside. I just hate it. I don't mind sweating if I'm at home because I can just stop working and get in the shade and go in the house or whatever. But when you're at a job site, you just can't stop working. You have to keep working so that way you can get done with the job so you can go home. So I've been out there working, and so I have not tended to the garden. I have not done any of those things. We're still literally organizing from Berry Fest. I still have to organize all of my Berry Fest decorations and put them in the trailer. I bought all these little bins to put them away. But yeah, so that was quite an event, and it was fun, and I loved it. It wasn't as many people didn't attend. Not that many people attended this year compared to last year because, you know, times are tough right now with the gas prices and food prices and all those things. And so with that being said, I'm planting some seeds. Now, is planting seeds, does it cost more? It depends. It depends on the situation. Now, I know right now I have a bunch of seedlings planted at a shopping center alongside a restaurant. And usually it's like, I want to say about 8 containers, 8 or 10 containers maybe. So there's a row of containers near a cinema and near a restaurant. And there's a couple little restaurants around there. So what I have been doing, and it's been pretty successful, a lot of people seem to like it, is I've been planting like a little vegetable garden right there. I've been planting some tomatoes along with some sweet potato vine and some petunias, some marigolds, just a variation of different variation of plants in a container. But the thriller is a tomato plant. So I've done that, and I've planted some peppers. This year I got some sweet peppers and I planted them as the thriller. So I cannot wait to see what that's gonna look like. And you know, I usually just water them every other day. So that's not too bad. And sometimes if it's not too hot out, I'll water them every other day. Maybe twice a week. So sometimes 3 days, sometimes 2 days. So it's not too bad. So I guess if you want to plant some things around your house in a container, it's still manageable, and you can still do that with a lot of very little effort. So today we're going to plant some squash. Now I love some summer squash. That's like zucchini. So I love some zucchini because I have learned to cook with it and to use it in many different ways. You can puree it and use it in your whatchamacallit, like cookie recipe. It keeps them nice and moist. You could put them in a brownie recipe, in a carrot cake recipe. You can make zucchini bread. There's just so many uses for the zucchini, which at first I did not know what to do with it, and it grows in such an abundance. So now that I know, I could chop it up, I could put it in minestrone soup, which is, I learned that a couple years ago, where if I have too many vegetables to go through, I don't want it to go to waste, I'll cut it up, I'll make a minestrone soup, and I'll freeze it, and I'll pull it out during the winter time, which is really nice. It's our fast meals, which is so nice to have when you're super busy. So lately we have been organizing around the house, playing catch up. I finally caught up with all the house chores and the inside chores. John caught up with all the office work, which I don't think he's ever really caught up with office work when you're running a business. And now he's outside mowing, and I'm out here planting some seeds. So we're gonna plant some squash. Now, the garden is gonna change over the winter time. It's not gonna look like this. I'm gonna take out a few beds. and I'm just going to rearrange the garden so it's a little bit more manageable for me and for when we go out of town to have someone come and manage it. Because right now I don't have all the garden beds planted. I don't always have all the garden beds planted. So I thought, why have this many garden beds if I'm not going to plant them all? So this year I'm going to have as many beds planted, since I'm not going to have the beds this year, and I'm going to see how much I can produce. And the only reason why I'm getting rid of some of these beds is not only am I tired of dealing with weeds, but like I said, I don't always have all the garden beds planted. So right over here on this side, let me show you. So right over here, I have these 2 garden beds. These 2 garden beds are going to be coming out, and I'm going to move these metal containers into that space right in there. So that way we can have this open space in the middle for dinners or outdoor things. And then I have a couple little containers right over here, and we're going to move them onto, I'm going to take out this garden bed right here, which this is celery that just outgrew and just kept growing and growing, and I never harvested and got too busy. And so yeah, so I'm going to take out that garden bed as well, and I'm going to put one little garden bed in there, so that way we'll have some more space in through this area. And then what else? And then I'm going to change out all the garden beds 1 by 1 or 2 by 2 to see how much, how much it's going to cost. But I think I'm going to change out all the garden beds to those metal containers, like a 4 by 8 metal containers. There's corrugated steel that you see everybody having. I think that's what I'm going to do, because you guys, I am so stinking tired of dealing with these weeds. It's just a lot of work. It's just so much work, and thank God we have help that can help us pull these weeds out. But we just top these beds off. I didn't put no weed killer. I didn't put any cardboard down or anything like that. We just put compost, a lot of compost, into these garden beds, and the weeds just found their way and came right up to the top. So and that's after pulling. We thought we pulled them all out, which we know we never will. So I want to get some raised beds. I want to put some cardboard down and get some raised beds and plant in the raised beds. And John wants to kill all the weeds around the raised bed and maybe put some decomposed granite or something down where it's just going to be nice and clean and easy. Even though I do love having this weeds as grass, like I do like it, this grass, that's what I meant to say. It's not grass, it's weeds. I do like the way it looks in between the garden beds when it's freshly trimmed, but come summertime, it's not gonna look like that. It's just gonna look like dirt. So that's our thought process. And these pieces of wood, these garden beds are starting to fall apart. They're reused woods, pieces of scrap wood that we made into garden beds from some job site that John got done doing. So we're still going to utilize them, use them for something else, but I think I'm going to 1 by 1 take them out, put those metal beds in there, put some cardboard down. I don't want to use landscape fabric or plastic or things like that, because I don't want it to decompose into the soil. So I think I'm just going to do some cardboard and some thick paper over the top of it, pin it down, put the garden beds on top of that, and hope for the best. Hope that it suppresses the weeds, which would be super awesome. And then grow in those. I think that would be awesome. So today we're going to grow some melons, which I have never had success with. Pumpkins, another thing I haven't had success with. What else? I have some eggplant starters that I need to pop into the ground. I bought some peppers from the nursery that I'm going to pop into the garden beds. Some beans, and some spinach. I think that's everything that we're going to plant. Beans, squash. So let's just go ahead and get started and get these seeds in the ground. I cannot wait to see what the garden's going to look like come fall and come summer. And also I am going to top them off with some straw. I have a bunch of straw inside the barn that I'm going to go ahead and top off on top of the garden beds, and that way hopefully that'll suppress some of the weeds. It won't make it too hard for me over the season to go through that, take care of them. So that's what we're gonna do. And so far everything's looking really good. The flowers, let me show you these flowers, you guys. Look how pretty these are. So I planted these bulbs. I want to say this is our second blooming. Isn't it so pretty? So we could, if you could see, we have them all in a row. Oh, everything is looking so pretty, and it looks so nice against these little white bushes, which I'm not too sure what the names of those are. And then we have another one all the way down at the very end, a pink one. And so, and our gladiolas are popping up. Look at these. But I do need to get the drip fixed into the garden bed. Right now I'm hand watering everything, hand watering the garden beds, doing everything by hand because one of the beds has a leak. So we need to dig that up and fix it. And John said that he's gonna get me some help to fix that leak. So first we're gonna start off in this first garden bed because these two garden beds are gonna be our last time growing in them. And we're gonna do some squash right in there. And the squash that I have is, I have this Gurney's squash right here. And this one is, what is it called? Summer Squash Smooth Criminal Hybrid. So, that'd be cool. Okay. And then we have this one right here, a dark green zucchini. So, I'm gonna do some squash in this bed. It's not too hard. Let me show you what they look like. And squash is so easy to grow. And I heard melons and watermelons and things like that are easy to grow, but not for me. I've not had success growing watermelons or things like that. And honestly, I feel I'm a little late in the season, but I have a chart that I go by, and I think I left it inside my cottage. I have a chart that I go by, and I got it from the nursery. It came in a calendar they were giving out. And so it says all the things that I can grow in my zone. And so these melons and squash and things like that are something I could sow right now in our zone, zone 9. I believe it's 9B or 9A, zone 9, Northern California. So the seeds here are pretty big. See that? I'm just gonna do probably about one in each hole because I feel like they're gonna pop up. So I'm gonna do 2 rows of this Gurney's and then 2 rows of this dark green zucchini. And let's go ahead and get started. I think the next row is gonna be some beans. Now, I was gonna plant a bunch of tomato plants and put trellising up and things like that, but because we had our berry festival, I waited too long for my to plant the tomato seedlings, and so they got super leggy and really stunted. So unfortunately, I'm not going to use those tomatoes, and whatever tomatoes we have in the garden is what we're going to have for the summer. And I think we're going to be just fine because we have so many. I got to show you afterwards what they look like. They're just growing profusely, and I've been fertilizing once a week on the plants, and so yeah, that's been helping. So let's go ahead and get started planting some zucchini. I cannot wait to show you how big these plants are going to get, and it's just going to be so amazing to cook with them and to preserve and to make brownies and all those little things, and yeah, have fun. All right, so over here in this garden bed, this is a garden bed that we're going to plant some jade beans. And so I'm just going to go ahead and do a bunch of jade beans, which we did do plant some beans in the other garden bed, not quite jade beans, but a different type of bean. And so, yeah, this is what we're going to do. We're going to plant some jade beans. Super easy. Jade beans are another thing that's easy to grow. The ones I'm using are from Botanical Interest. And they're bush beans, so they don't need any trellising at all, which is so awesome. And you can plant these ones. Let's see, it's going to emerge in about 6 to 12 days. And you space them about 1 seed every 4 inches. Perfect. I'm just going to go ahead and pop them in right at the emitters. And we're going to have a bunch of jade beans. All right, so over here in this garden bed where there's some weeds still growing in here, I am going to plant some melons. I have never been successful with growing watermelons, but I have this crimson sweet watermelon right here that I thought, you know, why not? Why not? Nothing to lose here but some beautiful watermelon if they grow. So I'm just going to go ahead and put a bunch of watermelon seeds into this garden bed. I did pull up the drip because I want to just, just put a bunch of seeds down and hope for the best. So I think, oopsie daisy, let's see what's in here. Oh, I thought this was melons. It is melons. The seeds are so small. There you go. You see those seeds? That'll tickle my throat. Okay, so they're so tiny. I'm just going to go ahead and sprinkle them in here. So let's just go ahead and start planting some of these watermelon. I'm going to do a heavy succession, put some straw down, and then call it a day for this garden bed. Then the next garden bed, we're going to do some cucumbers. And I also have some peppers, some seedlings. I think I mentioned that need to be planted in soil as well. So let's go ahead and get started with this one. And I got to make sure I save this so I can write a tag for it. So this is a specialty melon. All right, let's try it out. All right, now in this garden bed, we're going to do some botanical interest, some cucumber Persian munchers. Those are going to be so delicious. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and plant one on this side and then another one on the other side. I feel like I could probably plant some spinach in here, but I have an area that I want to put some spinach in. So let's go ahead and get started on planting these cucumber. Pretty easy. The other cucumbers that we planted are already popping up. I just had to put some trellising down for them so they have something to trellis on. So I'm going to put probably about 3 in each hole and at each little emitter spot. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. And then I'm going to put the straw on the top of it like I did with the other beds and give it a good watering. In this garden bed, we are going to plant some seedlings. These are some seedlings that I did get from the nursery. This is some Thai hot peppers, Thai chilies right here. And then we have just a bunch of different varieties. We have this one right here. This one's pepper garden salsa, which I think would be nice since last year was my first year making some cowboy candy, or what I like to know as sweet chili sauce. Super easy to make, and I think it would be such a great little gift for the holidays. So that is what my that's why I'm planting all of these. Before, I did not know what to do with all the peppers, but ever since I made that cowboy candy sweet chili sauce, it's been amazing. Plus, I do have some bell peppers in here that I did start from starters as well. Plant starts. That's what they're called, plant starts. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. It's pretty simple. You just want to go ahead and plant the whole root ball into the soil and water it in really good. I'm going to throw some straw onto this bed as well. And then the last bed that we're going to be planting is some spinach. So let's go ahead and get started because it is warm now, you guys, and I want to get out of the sun. All right, so this is the last garden bed that we are going to plant for today. And this is the garden bed where we had our carrots growing. So we had some carrots growing right here in the very front. And we have some Brussels sprouts here. And then we have some tomatoes growing on the other side. So this is the last seeds that we are going to be planting for our 2026 garden. And, you know, I noticed we did not plant any pumpkins. I thought I was going to plant pumpkins, but I guess I did not. So this one barely has any seeds. So we're just going to go ahead and put these all in. And spinach seeds are pretty easy. I just put a nice thick succession. I don't do them so many inches apart. I just do a nice thick row of spinach. And yeah, it's been doing pretty good. Oh, this is basil. Shoot, I don't want basil. All right, let me go grab some spinach. Pretty easy. I'm going to put them over the top. And then after I get done planting the spinach, we're going to put some straw, water it in, and then I'm going to show you the tomato plants and how everything is doing that I planted so far in the garden. So let me go grab that other bag of spinach seeds and get this one finished up. All right, so I thought I had some more spinach, but I'm all out of spinach. So I'm just going to go ahead and plant another row of some jade beans along with some chamomile. I did not plant any chamomile in the garden. And last year I planted some chamomile. And you guys, it is the best to make for tea. So the chamomile seeds are so tiny. So I'm going to go ahead and sprinkle a good amount in the corners of the garden bed. I don't know if you can see that. Super tiny. So that is what we're going to do some beans, some jade beans, and some chamomile. So let's go ahead. I'm probably just going to do the chamomile right there at the very end, and then go ahead and do some beans right in the middle. And we do have a little section of spinach. So that is what we're left with, and that is what we're going to do. All right, so let's go ahead and get started planting this chamomile. And eventually, you guys, we're going to, like I said, we're going to change all of these garden beds into metal garden beds. So I'm hoping that, you know, maybe over the spring or over the winter time, we could just slowly change one bed out at a time. So let's go ahead and start planting these beans. I'm just going to do a nice thick row of beans right next to that mitters. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Let's get started. All right, so now that we're done planting our seeds, let me just give you a run through of all the things that I have planted in the garden. So right over here, these are the bush beans that we planted. Look how good they're doing fantastic. I can see some flowers forming. We're going to be having some beans soon. These are some tomatoes that we started from seed. And these are the remnants tomatoes that I have. Now, I could probably put them in a container. I just don't know where. All right, so over here we have a bunch of, let's see what here, a rainbow blend. I think these are some cherry tomatoes. Yes, look at these. Do you see that? Looking so good. So we have all of our cherry tomatoes right here. Right in here, we have some eggplant, which I do have 2 more eggplant I could pop in right there. And then on the other side, we have some more tomatoes growing, looking fantastic. These are some Ace 55s right over here, looking really good. And on this side, we have some cucumbers growing, looking fantastic. I need to put some trellises up now because they're ready to start trellising. I have this one right here. So I put these little trellises up right here. These are masonry ladders that do fantastic. And then here we have some more cherry tomatoes. I forgot what variety this is right in here, but they are doing so good. I've trimmed off all the suckers. I have it down to 1 liter, and I just trellis them up just like that. This is the garden bed that we just finished planting with the Brussels sprouts. And the Brussels sprouts have a ton of aphids, but I just left it just because the aphids are attracted to this one and not the other Brussels sprouts. Now we have some more tomatoes on this side. Let me show you. I forgot what variety this one is. Feels like it's another cherry tomato. Oh no, it must be like a Roma tomato. Look at that. Yep, here it is. Roma Supremos. So we have some Roma Supremos right in here, and we're getting quite a few. So that is all of my tomatoes so far. Yeah, I think those are all my tomatoes that we have growing. Is just these 4 trellises, which I think that's plenty. So I'm excited for this 2026 garden. And then next year, we're going to move some things around. I have a big metal container that I'm going to take out one of the garden beds, the one that has a leak in it. I'm going to remove that one. We're going to put it in that spot and just kind of change it up a little bit, make it a little easier. Um, so we can have some big dinners in here, or, just keep the center nice and open. And you never know, over time, I might want to do something different and maybe make some rows or vegetables. I don't know. We'll see. But other than that, everything seems to be growing pretty well. I'm pretty excited about this year's gardening season, and I cannot wait to show you everything that's going to be growing in the garden. So hopefully you enjoyed this video. I'm glad to be back gardening in the garden. And yeah, I'm glad that Berry Fest is over. Even though we have so much fun doing it, I'm glad that it's over because it is a huge part of our life during that time. Like, we're just so busy running around doing that event. But I'm going to clean up the garden. We have some friends over, the couple that got married here, Bryson and Cheyenne. They are here visiting with their baby. They have a little baby that was born March 16th. So stinking cute. So I'm going to go out and hang out with them. They're up at the house, and they're going to be here for a few days hanging out with us. So hopefully you enjoy this video. Take care, be safe, and I hope this encourages you to plant some plants and vegetables in a container. I don't think it's too late, especially in our zone. We have a pretty long growing season, and I don't think you're going to be disappointed. Yeah, once you start planting some vegetables, I think you're going to be super impressed with yourself and proud. All right, so thank you for hanging out. Take care, be safe, and I will see you in the next video. Bye bye.